Okay, hi everybody. We're going to make some Western style ribs tonight. Pretty easy to get it going, although it does take a couple hours to cook. So basically, we got Western style ribs, they're called. They're not really a rib, they're actually a cut from the shoulder of the hog. And anyhow, they're pretty relatively cheap. I got these for like $1.98 today at a local grocery store. So basically what we're going to do here is, this is about 2 pounds, and you can see some of the bone. There's bone in some of them don't have any bone. So they basically, you buy them as, they're called Western style ribs. So actually what we're going to do, we got about a half an onion here. We're just going to cut that up into some kind of big pieces. No big deal how you cut it. And what we have here is about a tablespoon of salt, pepper, and I have 3/4 teaspoons of minced garlic. Now you can just use like 3 garlic cloves and cut those up into little chunks. And each 1/4 teaspoon of minced garlic equals about a garlic clove. So we're just going to use that because I don't have any fresh garlic. So basically what you do here is you take this onion, and what we're going to do here is, we got some boiling water over here already. Nice big pot. And basically what we're going to do is throw this onion here in there, okay? And I'm going to take the minced garlic, salt and pepper, dump that in there. Then we're going to take these Western style ribs and just put them into boiling water. And basically what they're going to do is cook for about 2 hours. And basically what you want to do is keep them boiling. So I'll get back to you and show you how they look in about an hour, and then we'll see how they look in 2 hours. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 10 minutes since we put these Western ribs in. They're what they're looking at like. And as you can see, the bone is starting to separate from the meat's starting to separate from the bone. So, in the meantime, while this was cooking, I preheated the oven to 450 degrees, which is what we're going to do with these Western ribs, the temperature we're going to use for those. But in the meantime, we're going to cook oven roasted potatoes, which we kind of have set up here. So basically what I did is, got about 2.5 pounds of russet potatoes here, cut up into 1-inch chunks, and we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of this Crisco and just okay, we'll just grease this pan a little bit here. These gloves are really cool for this job because, you know what, you don't have Crisco all over your hands. Good for baking too. So there we got this all nice and greased up a little bit. Okay, get rid of those. Okay, so set this aside for a minute or two, and what we did, we'll take these potatoes that have been soaking in the water for a while, throw them in a bowl here. So I dried them off a little bit here. And then we got one bell pepper, sweet bell pepper, cut up in about 1-inch chunks too. Throw that in there. And then we have about a half of a large onion. Okay, throw that in there. So we have a 1/4 cup of virgin olive oil that we'll drizzle on these pepper, onion, and potato mixture. Okay. So this is kind of, you know, the whole dinner takes a couple hours, so if you got stuff to do, you can go ahead and boil the meat for the first hour. And then go ahead and get this all set up. So we'll just toss this a little bit. Okay, and then we have 2 teaspoons of Lawry's seasoned salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, so we'll add that here into the mixture. And again, we want to toss this to mix it all up nice. So this is going to cook about 40 minutes. And you definitely have to, now if you cook it on aluminum foil, and I've done that before, pretty much the potatoes and stuff are going to stick to the aluminum foil. And you're not going to get the crispy potatoes. I haven't tried this yet. But my wife says this is the way to go, so we'll give it a try. So we got this all nice and mixed up here. And you can use any kind of bell peppers. I used yellow just because the red adds a little bit of color. You can add green to it too if you want. You know, more peppers, more onions, whatever. Okay, so we got that pretty much stirred up. So what we want to do here is get this greased pan that we had done before and pretty much just spread the stuff out over the pan. Just dump it. There we go. Unfortunately, you know, the best way to do this is have as much potatoes, and I mean, it's best to have one layer, okay, and not piled up like it probably will be in this thing, although this pan might be big enough. So actually, if you're going to cook more than a couple pounds of potatoes, you're going to have to use a couple baking sheets. But we got this pretty much, well, pretty much one layer. And what we're going to want to do is, at least for 40 minutes, and you're going to want to take a thin metal spatula or a plastic spatula, it doesn't matter, whatever, I mean, you know, whatever. And you're going to want to flip it over halfway through. So we're going to pretty much set the timer for about 20 minutes and then flip it over. And there we go, oven roasted potatoes. These are delish. Just like campfire potatoes, I guess you can call them, whatever. So we'll just got that all set up. We'll go throw it in our oven. So, okay, here we go. Basically, we have these ribs all nice and tender here, and without a whole lot of flavor. But anyhow, what we're going to do is put this Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce on it, the original one. It's probably one of the best barbecue sauces. I mean, yeah, everybody's got their own preference, but you know what? These Sweet Baby Ray's is definitely a good barbecue sauce. So we'll just get this baby open. We'll shake it a little bit first, just to get it all mixed up again. And because it's so convenient and it's squeezable, we'll just squeeze some here on the top of these pieces of delicious tender meat. All right, and we'll just give it a little brush in here. Move the stuff all over, around the sides, in the crannies and nooks and whatever. And so what we're going to do here, after we get done, is we're going to throw this baby in the oven. Put a little bit more on here. We're going to put it in a 450 oven for about 10 minutes or so. And then you know what's going to happen? That great sauce is just going to cling to this meat, and that will just kind of make it complete. So we got it on one side. We'll flip these babies over now, and oh, look at that meat. It just look at that. It just falls off. Getting a little bit messy. But you know what? Barbecue sauce is messy. Alright, so we'll finish flipping over these last piece here. Okay. And we'll squirt a little bit more sauce on. Now this is about 2 pounds of meat, so you know what? When it cooks down, it probably is only about a pound or so of meat. So, you know, once it cooks all that fat out of it, and you know, it's probably feed a couple people. That's about it. So plan accordingly. Figure a couple pounds of these Western ribs, even though they're so cheap, are only actually going to feed a couple people. So I think probably best thing to do is figure a pound per person. Uncooked pound per person. And unless you got a lot of sides going with it, you know. Okay, there you go. So we'll stick this back in the oven for about 10 minutes. And this sauce will just stick to this meat like, just like glue. And it will be so good. Okay then. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Okay, well there you go. A dinner that is very little preparation. Takes about 3 hours, about an hour prep altogether, I guess, and 2 hours cooking time. But anyhow, you have meat that is so tender, I mean, you could just pull it apart with a fork. Well, bad example here. There you go. Look at that. Oh, what is that? It's just pull apart, delicious. So thanks for joining me. You got potatoes, roasted potatoes, peppers and onions, Western style pork ribs. And they aren't really ribs like I told you, but you know what? The pork meat is delicious, and it just, it's so simple. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy. Mmm. Mmm, mmm, mmm.